Archangel Michael says, I order you to open this right now, you didn't notice it at first, but heaven did. That moment, so casual, so warm, so human, when someone pulled you close, smiled into your space, and pressed their presence into your atmosphere. It felt comforting. It felt familiar. It felt innocent. But not everything that feels gentle is pure. And I, Archangel Michael, have come today not to alarm you, but to reveal what was veiled. Because God does not want you moving forward unaware. You carry something sacred inside you. A divine light. A soul signature that hell cannot replicate. And that's why people are drawn to you without knowing why. Some to love you. Some to cover you. And some, to take something that wasn't theirs. God says, they didn't just hug you, they made a spiritual transaction. In the closeness, they reached into something they didn't understand. They didn't know how rare your peace was. They didn't know your heart was still healing. They didn't come to support. They came to transfer. To absorb what you carried. To borrow your calm. To touch what I protected. And I allowed it, not to harm you, but to expose who they are. You weren't wrong to embrace them. Your heart is pure. But now you must see with clarity, not everyone who holds you has clean hands. And this time, I'm not letting them get away unnoticed. Michael speaks now, like thunder wrapped in mercy. You felt tired after that encounter for a reason. You felt mentally foggy. You felt a strange weight in your chest that wasn't there before. That's not coincidence. That's not emotion. That was spiritual exchange. The person who hugged you recently did not come to give, they came to take. And even if they smiled, even if they laughed, even if they said the right words, their spirit was searching for power that didn't belong to them. And your light? It's rare. Your joy? It's magnetic. And they saw it. They wanted it. They reached for it. God continues, gently but directly, this is your 3-minute moment. Not to panic. Not to fear. But to reclaim what was yours. I am sending this message now because your soul must not walk burdened by someone else's darkness. You are not crazy for feeling what you felt. You are not weak for missing the signs. You are spiritually awake, and your discernment is growing. What they took is being returned. What they disturbed is being healed. What they tried to confuse, I am now restoring with clarity. Because your energy was never meant to be drained, it was meant to overflow with divine assignment. Michael speaks again, this time softly, like a father, you didn't lose anything permanently. But you need to know this, people sense your healing. They feel your light. And those who do not understand it will always want to copy it. But your light is not for sale. Your calling is not a costume. And your spirit is not a public playground. This is your sacred field. And from this day forward, you will no longer hug those who come to touch your soul with impure intention. Heaven is drawing a line. Not to harden your heart, but to guard it. Not to isolate you, but to elevate you. Because what's coming into your life requires no more spiritual leakage. God ends this revelation with powerful softness. I saw the hug. I saw their intention. And I've already sent angels to reverse what they tried to do. The transfer has been cancelled. The drain has been blocked. The confusion they hoped would linger has vanished. You are protected, not because you're always aware, but because I'm always watching. And I watch over what is mine. I watch over you. So take a deep breath. Reclaim your peace. Restore your posture. Because what was taken is being returned, and with interest. Your joy will rise again. Your energy will feel different. And the next time someone hugs you, you'll know their spirit before they speak. There are some moments in life that pass like whispers, unnoticed by the world, but remembered by heaven. That moment, when they leaned in, pulled you close, smiled as if nothing was wrong, it looked so ordinary. So harmless. But in the unseen realm, it was not ordinary. Something subtle happened. Something the human eye couldn't detect, but the spirit felt. And now, I, Archangel Michael, return to you not with fear, but with revelation. Because God wants you free from what was silently attached. That embrace wasn't just contact, it was connection. And what they connected to was your energy, your light, your favor, your anointing. Not to honor it, but to feed off it. God says, I've been watching what others did when they thought no one else could see. They thought they could come into your presence and hide their intentions under softness. But your spirit is sacred. Your space is consecrated. I do not allow just anyone to walk into your energy and walk out carrying pieces of your peace. So I blocked what they tried to carry. I reversed the transfer. I closed the access. And now, not only is your energy being restored, but they are being revealed. Because when I place my light inside someone, I also place boundaries around them. You are not here for others to drain. You are here to radiate on purpose. Michael's voice deepens now with divine justice. You didn't know what they came for, but your spirit did. That's why you felt heavy after they left. That's why you couldn't sleep right. That's why your mood dropped without explanation. You weren't overreacting. You were spiritually disturbed. They hugged you but left with more than just memory. They tried to collect your light like it was theirs. And it may have been subtle. They may not even know how deep the spiritual violation was. But I'm here now to make one thing clear: you are no longer accessible to hidden takers. The realm of heaven is cleansing your field. The realm of God is closing the holes. The vibration around your body is shifting. The divine firewall is rising. God speaks again, calmly but with weight that shakes the soul. This is a new hour. The people who touch you from this moment forward must come with clean hands and clear hearts. I will not allow repeat cycles of spiritual theft in your life. You gave freely when I didn't ask you to. You trusted when I was showing you signs. You believed in words when their energy told you otherwise. But I still protected you. I still covered your grace. Because you meant well. And I reward hearts like yours. I do not shame them. I shield them. And now I'm not just restoring what was taken, I'm increasing it. Because for every unspoken loss, I send a louder restoration. Michael's presence intensifies, his wings open wide in the unseen. There is nothing wrong with your love. Your kindness is not a weakness. Your heart was not a mistake. But you must now walk with awareness. Discernment is not judgment, it is divine survival. And I'm sharpening yours now. From this moment forward, no one will be able to enter your atmosphere with false energy without being spiritually exposed. They will feel uncomfortable. They will feel exposed. They will either rise to meet your frequency, or they will leave. Because what's coming next in your life is too important to share space with masked spirits. You've come too far to let takers sit where only true hearts belong. God closes this moment with a holy whisper. You don't have to confront them. You don't have to chase explanations. I will deal with what you don't see. I will reverse what you don't understand. And I will restore what you never thought would return. Peace will be your companion again. Joy will flow freely again. And every time someone embraces you now, it will be filtered through my protection. Because you are not just another kind soul in a cruel world. You are my chosen child. And no one takes from you without me responding. You will rise. You will glow. And you will know, nothing that's truly yours can ever be stolen. Because I guard what I give. You didn't ask to become a vessel of light. You didn't volunteer for spiritual assignments that placed invisible targets on your back. You simply lived with honesty, loved with purity, and gave with sincerity. That was enough to make you different. That was enough to make you noticed in the spirit realm. Because when you carry something eternal, people can sense it, even if they don't know what they're feeling. I, Archangel Michael, watched as your aura quietly lit rooms without trying. And I saw who leaned in. Not to appreciate your energy, but to access it. And now I have been commanded to finish what began with a whisper, to remove what was spiritually misplaced, and to return what was silently taken, without your permission but not without heaven's awareness. God says, there are two types of touch in the human world, one to connect, and one to consume. And you, my child, carry a heart that attracts both. The hug you remember wasn't about closeness. It was about contact. They thought they were subtle. They smiled. They acted harmless. But inside, they were empty. And they reached out to you, not because they respected your spirit, but because they needed it. And I let it happen. Not to hurt you, but to teach you. You are no longer a soul that must explain its value. You are a vessel I've sealed. You do not have to protect your light from the world. I do. And from this day forward, no false energy will succeed in slipping past me. Michael's voice now sounds like protection wrapped in prophecy. You keep asking why you felt drained after that day. Why the clarity in your thoughts seemed clouded. Why your sleep became restless. That was not random. That was not emotional sensitivity. That was spiritual residue. The moment they touched you, they opened a door they weren't meant to. They reached for something they didn't understand. And the result wasn't obvious, but it was felt. Your field, your energy, your divine atmosphere shifted. And not because you were weak. Not because they were strong. But because you were open. And they came with closed intention. God speaks again with slow, piercing truth. I am not upset with you for trusting. I made you gentle, not naive. But now I'm shaping your discernment. That hug wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. It wasn't comfort, it was collection. They didn't just embrace you. They absorbed something that was meant only for the path I laid for you. And now I am removing their hold. I am breaking their grip. I am burning the threads of invisible ties they created. Because what I gave you is not theirs to carry. I did not give your peace to be borrowed. I did not shape your joy for others to siphon. Your light is returning to you. Piece by piece. Breath by breath. Strength by strength. Michael leans forward now, closer than ever. You won't feel heavy anymore. You won't question your spirit anymore. You won't second-guess that feeling that told you something was off. Because you were right. You were sensing what could not be seen. And now, I am making sure you never walk away from a touch without knowing exactly what it carried. From this moment forward, when someone with wrong intentions gets close to you, your soul will shiver. Your peace will react. Your intuition will sound louder. Because your discernment is not paranoia. It is heaven's early warning system. And you will no longer ignore it. God's voice returns, more tender now, like a father holding his child. You were born to shine without shame. But now I give you something higher than kindness, spiritual boundaries. You can still love, but you won't overgive. You can still be generous, but not unguarded. I am teaching you how to give without leaking. How to glow without being stolen from. You are not a resource to be drained. You are a reservoir I'm filling for my purpose. And anyone who touches you now, must come through me first. Because you are not just walking into a new season. You are walking into a guarded dimension. And in this dimension, nothing missing remains lost. Everything stolen is returned in double measure. There are moments when your soul remembers what your mind cannot. And even though your body has moved on, something inside of you still stands at the doorway of that moment, that hug. That brief moment of closeness that should have left you feeling safe, but instead left a quiet confusion behind. You weren't weak for embracing them. You were simply being who God made you to be. Open. Warm. Trusting. But now, I, Archangel Michael, have returned because something sacred was shifted. Something that belonged to your inner world was disturbed, not by accident, but by subtle intention. And what was borrowed without permission is being called back, not through noise, but through heaven's silent authority. God says, I never asked you to stop loving. I never told you to stop trusting. But I have come to teach you how to discern without closing your heart. That person who hugged you didn't just feel your arms, they felt your peace. And when their own life felt out of control, they leaned into your light not to honor it, but to consume it. I know you didn't feel it immediately. I know it didn't show up in their words. But in the spirit, their need pulled from your well. And now, I'm not only restoring what they drained, I'm deepening the boundaries of your soul. Because what I placed in you is holy. It is not to be handled casually. It is not to be touched without reverence. And it is never again to be taken unknowingly. Michael speaks now with divine fire wrapped in love. You've been asking why your mind has felt scattered. Why you've been experiencing fatigue you can't explain. Why certain memories replay themselves in slow motion. It's not coincidence. It's disruption. That brief touch activated something they didn't have the right to access. And even if they didn't fully understand what they were doing, their spirit was reaching. Your clarity was touched. Your joy was touched. And now heaven has stepped in to seal what's yours. Not only am I guarding you now, I'm guarding your future embraces. From this day forward, no one will be able to spiritually tap into your field without your soul feeling it instantly. Because you've suffered too much to keep giving away. You're light without permission. God continues with the calm of eternity. This is not a punishment for them. This is protection for you. You've always given freely, believing the world would return your energy with the same heart. And yet you learned, some come not to fill, but to feed. And you gave even when you were empty. You poured when you were tired. You hugged others while holding your own pain in silence. That's why I'm rewarding you now. That's why I'm sending restoration disguised as revelation. You're not just getting your energy back, you're being promoted in spirit. You are stepping into a higher level of spiritual intelligence where nothing gets near you unless it's meant for your good. This is the grace of discernment. Michael breathes out holy protection, no more misplaced trust. No more confusion after connection. No more heaviness after helping. The pattern is broken. The cycle is ended. And now, every embrace from this moment forward will either bless you or expose them. There is no middle ground. You are too sacred for half-hearted energy. You are too aligned for disguised motives. Heaven is cleansing your circle. Spirit is correcting your path. And God is guarding your body like a temple, because that's what you are. A walking tabernacle of peace. And peace is not for sale. God speaks one final time in this chapter. You were never made to be used. You were made to be trusted with glory. And now I trust you even more. Because you didn't allow what was taken to make you bitter. You didn't close your arms. You didn't shut your spirit. And that's why I'm multiplying your portion. What they touched is being cleansed and returned. What they tried to absorb is being amplified in you. And your next miracle will not just restore what was disturbed, it will restore your trust in being open again. Because I, the Lord your God, am walking with you. Not just behind. Not just above. But within. And no one can steal what I've sealed. There is something you need to know now, not for fear, not for panic, but for empowerment. The hug may have lasted only seconds in time, but in the realm of spirit, it echoed longer than you imagined. What was supposed to be a simple moment of closeness, a gesture of affection, became a spiritual transaction. And not all transactions are equal. I, Archangel Michael, have been sent to reveal the truth that your heart tried to ignore. They didn't take something physical. They didn't take your possessions. They took something deeper. Something only your soul could feel was missing afterward. A quiet pull. A drain. A depletion so subtle, it disguised itself as fatigue, sadness, or confusion. But heaven saw it all. And heaven is responding, not with delay, but with divine correction. God says, they didn't ask for it with words. They reached for it with energy. They didn't speak it aloud, but they wanted what you carried, your peace, your joy, your clarity. And because your spirit is open, your boundaries were unspoken. You thought the moment was mutual, but their intention was unclean. It wasn't malice, it was desperation. And I saw their soul touch your field, your light, your frequency, without understanding the cost. And now I must teach you how to protect what is precious. Because you are not ordinary. You are not like everyone else. You are chosen. And chosen ones must walk with a different level of awareness. Michael's voice softens, but remains fierce with divine urgency. This was never about that person. This was about the pattern. The pattern of people touching you lightly but leaving a heavy imprint. The pattern of interactions that look small but shift your whole mood. The pattern of sudden weariness after giving your heart in seemingly innocent moments. And now, I break it. Not with conflict. Not with confrontation. But with clarity. Heaven is cutting the cords. Undoing the imbalance. Calling back what was stolen. What was entangled. What was tied to someone else's hidden intentions. And from this moment on, you will not only feel whole again, you will feel clear. Your body will rest. Your energy will rise. And your discernment will never be dull again. God speaks again, His voice flowing like a river into your soul. I am releasing you from soul fatigue. From spiritual depletion. From silent leaks you didn't even know were draining you. You've walked through many rooms giving without knowing who was receiving. Hugging without knowing who was holding. Speaking life into people who were secretly pulling yours in return. And I honored your love. But now I honor your healing. I restore what was silently taken. I remove what was wrongly attached. I close the portals you didn't know were open. And I place a divine guard around your presence. Because what you carry is too sacred to be shared unknowingly. Michael now wraps his wings around this moment like a shield. No longer will you carry the emotions of people who only came close to steal from your spirit. No longer will you question your mood swings, your sudden exhaustion, your heavy mind. That confusion wasn't yours. That sadness wasn't yours. That doubt wasn't yours. They came with spiritual dust and tried to wipe their mess into your clean soul. But I am wiping it off. I am cleaning your frequency. I am restoring your emotional rhythm. From now on, your peace will stay in place even after they leave. Because heaven will not allow anyone to take without alignment. Access denied. Permission revoked. God closes this chapter with the beauty of justice and love. You have suffered enough for the purity of your heart. And now, I will teach you how to protect it without hardening it. I will show you how to bless others without betraying yourself. I will anoint your discernment so sharply that you will see the truth behind every smile. Not to make you cold, but to keep you safe. Because the miracle I'm sending is too large to carry with leaks in your spirit. And now, I seal every crack. I lift every weight. I return every piece of joy stolen. You will feel yourself again. Not just better, but brighter. Not just lighter, but aligned. And this time, no one will touch what I have placed in you. There's a strange thing that happens to those with rare spirits, those who carry heaven's gentleness in a world that runs on survival. They get hugged for the wrong reasons. Pulled close by people who don't understand the sacredness of presence. They're seen as calm, so others come to lean. They're seen as light, so others come to feed. And you, beloved soul, have been carrying this truth in silence. Wondering why you feel off after moments that should have brought peace. That hug. That recent contact. It wasn't just about arms or affection. It was about access. Access to your soul's garden. To your divine rest. To your emotional clarity. And now I, Archangel Michael, speak with the full backing of heaven, not to scold you, not to make you afraid, but to restore what was touched without truth. God says, I didn't let them touch you because they were worthy. I allowed it so you would finally see the pattern. They didn't just lean in for closeness. They reached in to draw from you what they hadn't earned. And even if they smiled, even if they seemed gentle, their spirit was hungry. Their intention was disguised. And they were drawn to your warmth, not because they wanted to pour into it, but because they wanted what they lacked. You didn't lose a part of yourself permanently, but there was an imbalance. And I do not allow my chosen ones to walk through life carrying the weight of someone else's extraction. So now I am reversing it all. Michael speaks now with bold finality, what they took from that hug is being returned. Not just energy, but clarity. Spiritual equilibrium. The inner balance you couldn't describe but always felt was shifting, it's coming back. That brain fog wasn't random. That emotional heaviness wasn't yours. That strange weariness after connection, it wasn't normal. It was a residue of spiritual misalignment. You absorbed what wasn't yours, and unknowingly handed out your light. But no more. You will no longer walk around carrying their confusion. You will no longer mistake spiritual weight for emotional weakness. Because God is resetting your system in real time. God continues with the softness of a healing wind. You've questioned yourself long enough. Wondered if you were overreacting. Wondered if you were imagining it. But I'm here to affirm you. You weren't wrong. Your soul knew. Your spirit was alert. And now I am refining that gift. The reason you've been through so much is because I was maturing your discernment. So that when your miracle arrives, it isn't drained. So that when your destiny opens fully, it doesn't leak. You have too much to give the wrong hands access. And the time of spiritual freeloading is over. Michael now leans in close, wings brushing the atmosphere around you. You are not fragile. You are fortified. Your hugs are no longer spiritual entry points, they are holy ground. Anyone who steps into your space now will be spiritually scanned. If their heart is impure, they won't even be able to linger. If their intention is false, they'll feel uncomfortable. Because the God in you will not remain silent anymore. You don't need to confront anyone. You don't need to explain. Heaven will speak for you. Heaven will defend you. And the one who tried to steal peace will now be met with silence, and silence will teach them what words never could. God ends this part with beauty and reassurance. You are being upgraded now. Spiritually rewired. Emotionally renewed. I am replacing what was taken. I am filling what was drained. I am repairing what was scratched. And you, my child, will not be the same after this. You will walk in rooms lighter. You will sleep deeper. You will smile without heaviness. Because the transaction that happened that day has been reversed. The light they tried to borrow has been recalled. And your soul is safe again. Not just protected, restored with honor. You are not who you were before that hug. You are stronger now. Brighter. Sharper. And no one touches what I have sealed again. You are no longer standing where you were before. The moment that drained you, the contact that shifted your soul, the exchange that left you wondering why you felt off. It has now become the very proof that you are evolving. What once could touch you without your knowing, now can no longer pass through. You've crossed into something sacred, beloved. I, Archangel Michael, have watched heaven unfold layers around you like new garments of light. What was once porous has been sealed. What was once vulnerable has been empowered. And now, the person who tried to draw from your well without consent is no longer able to access what they once casually reached for. You are spiritually guarded by the hand of the Most High. God says, you are not only restored, you are redesigned. That embrace was allowed not to weaken you, but to initiate your ascension. The discomfort it brought was not to destroy, it was to activate awareness. You now see the difference between attention and intention. Between proximity and purpose. You are no longer deceived by closeness that lacks covenant. And because you learn through pain what many ignore in comfort, I am promoting you into a realm where you do not have to explain your energy anymore. You are not confusing. You are consecrated. And only those who are aligned with my spirit will recognize your soul as holy ground. Michael's presence surrounds this message like a circle of flame. They may not have meant harm, but they brought it anyway. Because when someone is leaking internally, they subconsciously reach for others to patch their emptiness. They hugged you thinking you wouldn't notice. But you did. You felt the shift. You felt the weight. You sensed something was left behind that didn't belong to you. And now, I confirm what your spirit discerned, it wasn't yours to carry. And now, it's gone. Released. Returned. Cleansed from your soul. You are no longer the container for unspoken battles that others won't face. You are a vessel of truth, not a sponge for broken intentions. God speaks again with a soft, sovereign tone. You will no longer need to retreat every time someone draws too near. You will no longer doubt your sensitivity. I gave it to you on purpose. Your discernment is not a burden. It's a shield I handcrafted. And I have refined it through experience, sharpened it through betrayal, and now anointed it with clarity. You will sense dishonor before it speaks. You will feel dishonesty before it touches. And you will no longer explain it to anyone who doesn't live in the Spirit. Because what I have placed within you cannot be contained by those who live outside of my frequency. Michael breathes a final word into this portion: you will love again, but it will be different. Not because you'll be guarded, but because you'll be grounded. Your energy will be protected. Your peace will have protocol. Your touch will carry fire. And those who are not sent will burn. Because you are stepping into divine distinction. You're not just healed, you are transformed. And those who once saw you as soft will now encounter your strength, not in argument, but in presence. You won't have to say a word. Your spirit will speak. Your peace will speak. And your restored light will speak louder than anything they ever took. God closes this chapter with holy finality: let the one who took unknowingly now sit in the stillness of their own absence. You are not going back to rescue what was never willing to honor you. Your arms are open only to alignment now. You are no longer accessible to confusion. You are no longer emotionally available to manipulation. You are mine. And I will defend what belongs to me. You have passed the test. You have crossed the line. And what you carry now will change generations. So breathe again, child. The season of hidden takers is over. The era of divine receivers has begun. There is a stillness rising now, not silence of emptiness, but peace after war. Your soul has walked through fire without screaming. You've been drained without explanation. You've stood in rooms with people who smiled at your face but tapped into your spirit without consent. And still, you stayed open. You stayed kind. You kept showing up when no one knew how heavy your heart had become. But now, beloved, this story is no longer about what they took. This is about what you reclaimed. What heaven returned. What God preserved in secret while you kept pouring out in public. And I, Archangel Michael, have been with you through every second of this unseen battle. But now, I stand not as your warrior. I stand as your witness. Because the miracle is no longer on the way. The miracle is you. God says, you didn't know how powerful you were becoming when you broke down. You didn't realize how sacred you were when you felt like you were losing everything. But I saw you. I counted every tear. I measured every ounce of spiritual weight that was wrongly placed upon you. And I said, no more. This child will not live being taken from. This one will not remain open to those who are spiritually closed. I am no longer teaching you how to survive, I am now teaching you how to reign. Because what I've placed inside of you cannot be dimmed by closeness. It cannot be stolen through touch. It cannot be undone by the ones who couldn't recognize your value. You are no longer just protected. You are empowered. Michael's voice wraps around you now like holy wind through ancient trees. This is the hour where you rise not with noise, but with knowing. You no longer need closure from the one who took. You no longer need apology from the one who drained. You no longer carry grief disguised as empathy. You no longer shrink your soul to protect people from their own shadows. The light you carry now is unapologetic. And those who once embraced you with impure intent will no longer find your spirit accessible. Heaven has locked the doors they once walked through. You didn't close your heart, God simply closed the portal. Because what's coming next cannot be touched by unclean hands. God continues with a voice full of majesty and mercy, the one who hugged you and left you feeling empty. They won't even understand what happened. But they will feel the shift. They will feel that your peace no longer receives their pain. They will feel that your silence has become sacred. And you don't need to explain why. Because I am sending people into your life who do not come to take, but to pour. To hold space, not steal spirit. To mirror your purity, not manipulate your softness. From now on, your energy will not walk into rooms unguarded. I walk ahead of you. I surround you. And I say this clearly, no one touches what I've sealed. Michael steps back now, and heaven's gates begin to part with golden light. You're not just healing. You're activating. You're not just recovering, you're awakening. To what was always inside of you. The hug may have taken something for a moment, but God used it to give you something far greater. Discernment. Power. Alignment. And now, your peace is rooted. Your soul is centered. And your story is becoming a mirror for others who don't know why they feel tired after love. Why they feel confused after kindness. You are the voice now. The light. The map. And no one will be able to dim what's been divinely rebuilt. God ends this with holy softness that wraps around your chest like home. You've reached the end of what they took, and the beginning of what I'm giving. I'm not only returning what was borrowed. I'm increasing what was hidden. I'm revealing what was buried. And I'm opening doors only your healed version can walk through. You are not broken. You are born again through fire. You are not behind. You are on divine timing. You are not lost. You are surrounded by angels. And now, go forward with joy. With discernment. With light that can't be stolen again. Because I have restored you fully. And no one will ever take from you like that again. They thought your silence meant surrender. They assumed that your softness was weakness. They believed that because you didn't speak about it, it didn't affect you. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't possibly understand, is that your spirit was built to withstand storms in silence. The hug that took something from you didn't leave you empty. It left you pregnant with revelation. You've been walking these days not in confusion, but in transformation. You've been sensing things before they happen. You've been noticing shifts, feeling God closer, hearing your own soul rise louder. That's because what they took was temporary, but what heaven deposited after that moment is eternal. God speaks gently but with great fire. They didn't just touch your body, they touched the edge of your assignment. And when something not aligned with me tries to touch what I've placed in my chosen, it causes a disruption in the invisible. And that disruption was permission for me to intervene. I let it happen not to break you, but to birth something stronger in you. You thought it was just another embrace. But I knew it was a moment that would mark the end of your unguarded access. You were never meant to be spiritually exposed to those who come empty and leave emptier, taking what they never contributed to. So now I've closed the gate. I've locked the access. And I've shifted the atmosphere around you permanently. Michael's voice roars softly now like thunder underwater. The one who hugged you thought they were pulling something from you, but they didn't realize the risk of touching a soul chosen by heaven. That light they tried to steal? It carried heaven's seal. That peace they tried to absorb? It was protected. They didn't know that you were not alone. And now, they are spiritually blocked from reaching you again. Their memory may remain, but the drain has been cut. Their name may echo in your past, but it has no authority in your present. And soon, even the emotional tie that remained will break completely, not through rage, not through conflict, but through clarity so divine it silences every soul that ever touched you wrong. God continues with unmatched authority. I've raised the bar on your boundaries. I've elevated your spiritual frequency. From now on, only those with clean motives will be able to get close. You are not here to be drained, you are here to pour into nations. And for that reason, I am now increasing your discernment even more. You will feel truth in people before they speak. You will hear lies in the tone of affection. You will sense intention in every movement. And you won't need to explain your distance anymore. Because your distance isn't rudeness, it's reverence. Reverence for the anointing I've placed inside you. Reverence for the calling you're walking in. Reverence for your soul's peace, which is not to be tampered with again. Michael encircles this moment with divine protection. You are more powerful than you know, not because of what you've gained, but because of what you've survived quietly. You didn't retaliate. You didn't curse them. You didn't collapse under spiritual violation. You allowed God to work. You allowed heaven to reveal. You trusted the process of divine justice. And that's why you are being elevated. Your voice is becoming stronger. Your presence is becoming weightier. Your peace is becoming unshakable. And your boundaries are now blessed by heaven itself. From this day forward, your energy is sacred space. And any person who enters it will either transform, or leave. God concludes with this final whisper written in fire: no one can take from you what I've already restored. No one can repeat what I've already closed. No one can drain what I've already protected. This is your hour of stillness. This is your moment of rise. You're no longer explaining the energy you feel, you are living in full awareness of it. What that hug took has been replaced by power. What that touch drained has been filled with destiny. And from now on, when someone tries to access you, they will have to pass through my presence first. Because you don't belong to confusion anymore. You belong to me. The person who hugged you never thought you'd remember how it made you feel, but your soul never forgot. Not the way your chest felt tighter for no reason afterward. Not the subtle sadness that clouded your thoughts. Not the unexplainable tiredness that crept in like smoke after fire. You didn't see it with your eyes, but your spirit recorded everything. And today, as I, Archangel Michael, deliver this final part of heaven's message to you, know this with certainty: you are not crazy. You were spiritually touched. But now, you are eternally covered. That moment may have disrupted your peace, but it awakened your purpose. That embrace may have taken something, but it could not take your destiny. God says, I watched how you gave love without agenda. I watched how they took it with silent greed. I allowed the contact not to punish you, but to trigger your divine awakening. They saw you as soft, but I saw you as sacred. They leaned in thinking you were emotionally open, but they had no idea they were leaning into a temple I myself had built. And now I've reinforced that temple. You're stronger. You're deeper. You're bolder, not in voice, but in spirit. From this moment on, the people who try to draw from you will encounter my presence first. Because you are not meant to be drained by temporary people when I've marked you for eternal purpose. Michael now rises as light begins to encircle your space. That person has no more access. That hug that once connected spiritual cords has now been reversed. The residue has been removed. The imbalance has been restored. And even their memory now has no power to affect your emotional state. You may remember them, but you won't relive the moment. You'll carry wisdom, not wounds. You'll carry clarity, not confusion. Because you, chosen one, are no longer living in the space where takers thrive. You have shifted, elevated, crossed into a field where only those aligned with light can survive near you. You are becoming heaven's field of protection. God continues, gentle but firm, this is not just about a hug. It's about the pattern I had to break. How many times did you allow someone close because they seemed safe? How many times did your heart open while your spirit screamed? How often did you walk away from connection feeling like something was missing from your soul? That was me showing you that even love needs discernment. And now, I've equipped you. You no longer love blindly. You love with wisdom. You no longer give because they ask. You give because I lead you to. You are no longer walking as a giver without guard. You are now a vessel with vision. Michael's wings now shimmer with heavenly fire. You will be hugged again, but never by takers. You will be touched again, but never by those who carry draining intentions. Because I've activated spiritual sensors within your body, your emotions, and your soul. Before someone even speaks, you will know. Before someone steps in, you will feel. And you will not question it. You will not doubt it. Because this time, you trust your knowing. You trust the spirit within you. You trust the God who whispers warnings even when no words are spoken. God's final voice in this journey comes not as thunder, but as a whisper that feels like sunrise in your chest. I've restored what was taken, multiplied what was missing. And I've crowned you with something the taker can never touch again, peace that surpasses understanding. And when people see you now, they will notice the glow they once tried to dim. They will notice the strength that replaced the space they drained. But they won't recognize you fully. Because I didn't just restore you, I rebuilt you differently. Stronger. Wiser. Unshakable. and you will never again be the same.